Hello. You will have noticed the diet is over. Yesterday I hit the gym for a short, kind of mid-rep kind of session. Then I headed home and I ate an entire box of Frosted Flakes and then I took a nap. And yeah, that's how carb ups work sometimes. And we had steak that night, and my wife, for some reason, did not finish hers, and that gives me occasion to talk about spirits pairing with food. There is a tradition of spirits going pretty well with snacks. I can report that, peaty whiskey plus dark chocolate is an awesome pairing. Lots of spirits go well with cheeses, with crackers, with buttered bread, stuff like that, like snacky foods. But there is much less discussion and much less just stuff out there to read on spirits going with meals, with hearty food. And one of the classics you will see talked about, but often with considerable doubt, is steak with bourbon, which sounds like the most American thing ever. And it is the most American thing ever. But a lot of, when I'm having a steak, what I want is a red wine. Last night we had a Minervois, which was very nice. Because the tradition is, for something like a steak, you want some acid, you want some tannin, you want some, and you don't want the alcohol to be sky high in order to kind of work with the food in a synergistic way that they come out, better than the sum of their parts. So the question is, can spirits do kind of that same thing? And I mean, as a wine nerd, my reaction is knee-jerk no, but I don't actually know. So what we're going to do today is just try a whole bunch of different kinds of spirits with this steak and see, well, first of all, if any of them work. And if any of them do, which of them works best. So we're going to start things off with this Four Roses single barrel. So a high rye bourbon. This is what I'm using to cover kind of bourbon and kind of American whiskey in general. It smells fantastic. It smells very bourbony. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a piece of this delicious steak. This is a prime grated strip steak. It's reheated, so it's gone from kind of light medium rare to kind of just this side of medium, but still should be good. Well, all right. Fantastic. And yeah, I don't think that works very well. I think the oak and the alcohol is kind of getting in the way. It makes it very peppery, very aggressive in the mouth, in a way that I'm not super duper happy with. It's not undrinkable. It's not an awful pairing, but it's certainly not, what I would want to drink with this steak. So we're gonna put that down. By the way, I chose all of these kind of at random, just what I had access to, but also what I had lying around. Just stuff between 45% and 50% to kind of keep the proof the same. I didn't go too weird. There's some weird stuff towards the end. Yeah, so 45 to 50%, just a whole bunch of different categories. And let's continue this little journey. Next up, let's do an Armagnac. So this representing the category of French grape-based brandy. Let's do Barillon 5-year-old. Not too much. Again, I'm gonna have a bite of my delicious strip steak. Strip steak is phenomenal. Still not a fantastic pairing, but a better pairing. The fruit from the Armagnac, and particularly the French oak, is kind of wrapping itself around the steak a little bit. I wish this had a little bit more acidity and maybe even a little bit more grip to it. But it's not doing the kind of aggressive, like peppery, spicy thing that the bourbon was doing. Yeah. Still doesn't feel like a great pairing, but this could work. So we're going to put Barillon right there. And we're going to move on. Yeah, let's try in the genre of apple brandy. Back to American spirits. Let's do this Laird's 10th generation. We're back to 50%. Yeah, come on. I'm making a huge mess. Okay. Once we have some good pairings on the table, I'll probably go through these again. All right. Steak, fantastic. Apple brandy. The heat, the alcohol is kicking up a little bit, so I'm beginning to think maybe the alcohol can be a thing. Like, but this is also working okay. Like the fruit, the apple is wrapping around the steak pretty well. I don't think it's quite as good a pairing as the Barillon, but it goes in the plus column. All right, moving on. Let's grab this. I wanted to do it to a malt, and for my malt, I selected Armoric 10. Were you expecting a Scotch? Well, this is more Scotchy than most of the Scotches I've had recently. So, and I just want all of you to know about this. Armoric is making awesome stuff recently. Doesn't mean it'll go well with steak, but they're making awesome stuff recently. Oh, it's just got a little bit of everything you want from a malt whiskey. All right, so I'm going to find a decently sized piece of steak. Steak is awesome. A plus. Amazingly, the steak brings out the peat in this. Like, when you're having this on its own, the peat is it's noticeable if you're paying attention to it. But with steak, something about the steak, the savoriness of the steak is just bringing out. So it feels like my mouth is just covered in like peaty fattiness right now. And again, so sort of 46%. Also kind of avoiding the excessive spiciness that was coming up from the Four Roses, and to some extent the Laird's. Yeah, this, you know, it's right up there with the Barillon for me. Maybe still not quite with the Barillon, but yeah, this goes in the plus column. Let's put it there. All right, this one I'm very curious about. I wanted to do Baijiu. We're going to do Ming River because it's available, and because, again, the strength is down. It's like 45%. Oh, yeah. That combination of, like, pineapple and orange rind and, like, stinky cheese. This is the good stuff. Ugh. Oh, fennel. If you haven't given Baijiu a try, I'm not going to go into my polemics again, but it's worth a shot, and this is a good example of the breed as any. Yeah, that's fun. Okay, now what makes this a potential spoiler, of course, is Baijiu is meant to go with food, right? The tradition is like you don't serve this, you know, after dinner when you're in your smoking jacket. You serve this at the dinner, and you run around with your friends toasting everyone. So. This one might have a leg up. Steak. And it absolutely has a leg up. This is the best pairing so far. That kind of pineapple fennel thing is really playing nicely with the steak here. I don't have any access to like pH levels or anything, but I would guess this has more acid to it than any of the spirits we've tried so far. Really good pairing. I'm going to come back to that. All right, next up. We got some rums. Okay. This is going to get weird. Let's do a cane juice spirit, and I'm going to do Sanson. Clarence Sanson for fun. And this is, oh, it's a little bit higher than I allowed. I didn't check this. 53.2%. This could be trouble. But it also has a deeply olivey, savory character that I'm really curious to see. Will this work with a steak? I don't know. I don't know anything. I'm just tasting these. Shake. Awesome. That's not what I was expecting. So, believe it or not, the Clarin kind of gets lost in this. I mean, it's not... Yeah, wow. Let me try this one more time. I'm going to have another, maybe a smaller piece. Maybe I can like cut a little piece off here. Okay, shake. Yeah, it's like it has a nice moment of oliviness, pow, and then it kind of just disappears. It's like the steak just kind of sucks it all up and it goes, what else you got? It's not like it doesn't work. There's no kind of like conflict or anything like that. It's just not, there's no synthesis. There's no synergy. So I'm going to put that in the bad column. All right, moving on. A few more. This will be fun. All right, I wanted to do an aged rum as well, and a molasses-based one. So we're going to do Fiji. This is Fiji 2014, 48% alcohol by volume. All pot still. A little bit industrial, a little bit weird. Fun stuff. Okay. Rummy time. Here we go. Steak. Steak is awesome. Again, it feels like there's a nice moment of kind of like industrial accident and explosion in my mouth for a second with the steak, and it's like it feels like the steak just kind of sucks it all up. But it even doesn't work as well as the Sanson because it kind of makes the steak a little bit bitter and chewy. Yeah, I'm going to say no to this pairing. I'm going to take that one out of contention. So we have a couple glasses left. Ooh, okay. We need to get some agave in here, so let's do some of these standard Malbien. This is Espadin from Oaxaca. No idea how this one's going to work, but I needed to get some agave in here, just for fun. My palate's starting to feel this. All right, shake. Mm-hmm. Interesting. So kind of in the same way that the steak brought out the peatiness of the Armoric down there, it brings out kind of the vegetal herbaceous character of the Malbian. Yeah, that works. I'm going to call that one in. All right. So, and then there was one glass, and this is my wild card. Mar de Bourgogne from Cartron. I've had this around forever. 45% alcohol by volume. Now, Mar is interesting because it's wine-based, right? And for me, it tends to throw a little bit of more of a sour, acidic character than a lot of other spirits. So I have to wonder, can Mar work well, with steak, with other kind of table foods? I guess we'll find out. Shake. In some ways, this feels like it's doing the same thing as the Fiji, the rum. Maybe a hair bit better. Let me try this one more time. Give me a second. You're just watching me eat. That's what you're doing. You're sitting, watching YouTube on your phone, watching me eat. I'd say this one edges in. Yeah. All right, and then we have my glasses are in complete disarray here. All right, so we have our order here. Okay, that's whiskey. Agave. More. That's the Baijiu. Okay, so these are finalists. I thought the Barillon was pretty darn good, and let's try that one more time. This is good. This is, again, it's not a fantastic pairing, but you are getting synergy. You are getting the tannins working their way into the meat. You are getting the fruit kind of wrapping its way around the stickiness of the steak. Yeah, this is a very solid pairing. That works. All right. Next up assuming my nose is correct, should be the Laird's. Take a stick. This one might do better for proof down a hair, but I still don't think so. It's just not kind of playing as well with the steak as the Barillon, the brandy, the grape brandy was. So I'm going to take that out of contention. Yeah, we'll leave that there. Whatever. Move on to the Armagnac. Cut some of these pieces in two, just in case I need more steak to work with, because I'm running out. Oh. All right, Armagnac. You know what? That works beautifully. you have to be into peat. But yeah, there's like the peaty maritime character is really kind of just going really, really nicely with the steak, which is not something I would have expected. But yeah, it's working. This is totally working for me. That's probably even a hair bit better than the Barillon. All right, moving on to the Baijiu. This was kind of, at least on first go. Sorry, I'm like burping on camera. Sorry. On first go, the Baijiu might have been the best pairing, but we'll see how it does in the second round here. It still might be the best pairing. Oh, that's gorgeous. It feels like, again, I don't know pHs, but it feels like there's some acid cutting into the fattiness of the steak a little bit. And then like all those weird strong aroma notes, the out of control tropical fruit and the fennel, like all that stuff is just kind of dancing on my palate, playing with the steaky notes, and it's really nice. Yeah. Okay, so that's Barillon third, Armoric second, Ming River first right now. We still have a couple of glasses to go. All right, back to the Malbian. It had me and it lost me a little bit. It's still good. What is the alcohol in this? 45.5. So, initial impression, like when the mezcal first hits, there's an explosion of like mintiness and kind of a dark chocolate thing, like a junior mince thing, which is working well with the steak. And then it kind of starts to fall away in a lot of the way that the Sansan did, but not nearly as badly. It hangs on enough for me to want to keep it in the running. But yeah, it's not my favorite of these pairings. All right, and last up is the Mar. So here we go. Yeah, it works. It works. You have to like Baum's brandy. You have to like those kind of like weird like raisins meets tea leaves kind of notes that Baum's brandy can throw at you. But it's really nice to have those notes kind of dancing around the steak. That being said, it is not the strongest in this lineup. So let's do my favorites. In last place, well, no, in fifth place, because then you have these guys, the four I ruled out. In fifth place, the Malbian Mezcal comes on very strong when you first, have it with the steak. Big explosion in the mouth of like herbaceous mezcal goodness, but it fades pretty quickly, and yeah, but it works. It's a nice synergy. The Mar de Bourgogne, it's not that synergistic, but it comes in fourth. But you do get more of a sustain here. Big old nice Mar explosion along with your steak, and it kind of holds longer than the mezcal does. The one I would say that begins to be more of a synergy, and this is going to be third place. God, this table is a mess. I'm sorry. Is this Barillon Armagnac, which is just like the tannins really work well. There's a sense of acidity that works really well, and the fruit just kind of plays very, very nicely with the steak. I like this pairing a lot. But I do not like it as well as this Armoric single malt. I wasn't noticing the oak on this at all, really. What I was noticing intensely was the maritime character and the peaty notes, and that's not even that strong on this whiskey, but it really, really plays well with my little strip steak here. But the winner is the spirit here that was kind of meant to go with food. And in retrospect, maybe that shouldn't be so much of a surprise, but here it is. Ning River, Baijiu from Luzhu Jiao. This one it was the best pairing. It really was. It felt like there was the most synergy, most synthesis of flavors happening with this stuff in the steak than versus all the rest of these. And yeah, I guess that's the video. Please don't think of this as anything scientific or conclusive. Like, I am just kind of, doing some thinking experimenting, thought experimenting, whatever the verb version of that is. Doing some thought experiments. And kind of maybe some proofs of concept as well. But yeah, so let us answer the question initially. Can spirits go with food? Like table food? Absolutely. But bourbon is certainly not the best at that. The best of that for the moment, for me, might actually be this stuff. And on that shocker, thanks for watching and cheers.